Welcome to class. We're focusing on our feet, our ankles, our knees, and our thighs. This portion is designed to work into both strength and stability and flexibility and mobility in those joints, which works super hard for us when we're out on the trail. Let's get started. We'll start with chair pose. Chair, I'm sure it's your favorite pose already. So chair pose, we bring our big toes together and we lower our hips down to the mat. And really the key here in general with chair pose is making sure you can see your toes past your knees and lowering your hips down towards the floor. We are adding on for this pose to get some ankle stability in as well. So lift your heels right over the balls of your feet. So you want to actually center your ankles between your big toes and your pinky toes. Breathing deeply. Oh, you could be like me and lose your balance in this pose pretty easily. Squeeze your inner ankles towards each other, hands at heart center. Ujjayi breath. And stay for 10 breaths. Really building stability. If your heels come down, lift them back high over the balls of your feet. Stay steady in your breath. If you're a dancer, you might have a little edge over the rest of us. Keep breathing, keep breathing. And then lower your heels back to the floor. And you can stand for a moment after the chair because your legs are probably starting to feel pretty worked. Chair is also super great for quad strengthening, which we need for those great downhills when we're really working our way down and need to protect our knees with strong quads. Speaking of, crescent lunge, great for stability and quad strengthening. So bring your feet hip width distance and come into a high lunge. Lift your back heel right over the ball of your foot. Spiral your hips forward to the top of your mat. Pull your belly button up and in. Reach your arms up towards the ceiling. One of the keys to getting the strengthening is press your left heel into the floor and really squeeze both your hamstring and your quad here, and then bend your left knee deeper. All right, so you might notice I'm inching out my foot as I start to figure out the right balance. If your back heel is coming down towards the floor, lift it nice and high. Pull your belly button in and soften your shoulders. For a lot of fitness, we do a lot of dynamic movements, a lot of really active, a lot of bounce and power in our movements. Holding poses brings in stability. It forces your legs to work and really figure out the balance points here, which over time is really helpful for your hiking. And so right here, belly lifted in, Ujjayi breath, soften your shoulders, and reach long through your fingers up towards the ceiling. And when we're done here, we could step to the top of our mat, switch our legs, left foot back, square your hips, press deep into your front heel, lengthen your tailbone towards the floor, and soften your shoulders. You know, all these poses are really best done in a sequence, and I want you guys to really be familiar with how they're supporting your hiking, what they're doing for you in terms of strength and your stability. And then come back to both feet together, hands to heart center. Another great pose is tree pose. Balancing poses in general are really good for getting stability into the arches of your feet. Most of us wear shoes all day long and we're really protected and we're not having to rely on the strength in our feet. And then over time, our feet kind of get weaker. So when you work into balancing poses, it strengthens your feet, strengthens your ankles, and gives you more endurance and strength for longer stretches of hiking. Tree pose, you'll bring your right foot to your inner thigh or above your knee joint. Ground into the four corners of your feet. So big toe, pinky toe, knuckle, and both sides of your heels. Pull your belly button up and in. Bring your hands together in front of your chest and set your gaze somewhere steady. Ujjayi breath. All right, stay here or reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Relax your shoulders and feel the great extension through your ribs and all through your fingertips up towards the ceiling. Keep breathing. And hands back to heart center and release your right foot to the floor and do the other side. Bring your left foot to your inner calf or to your inner thigh. Press firmly into your leg, ground in into your standing foot, and then use your core to lift. Relax your shoulders. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Your body systems for balance start with your feet, includes your core and includes your inner eye balance, which is really your gaze. So if you're feeling a little bit like, oh, I'm pretty stable, I'm wondering what challenge I could bring in, move your gaze, right? And lift your gaze up towards the sky. And that can really give you a different kind of challenge. Your body's having to negotiate new systems and bringing in even more balance. And come back to center, hands at heart center, and release your left foot to the floor. Our last pose is toes pose. Come down to your knees, tuck your toes under. So make sure your pinky toe gets under as well, and sit back over your heels. Belly is lifted in. Mostly we're focusing on breathing to stretch into the fascia in our feet. For most of us, we walk around in shoes that are slightly lifted in the heel. If you think about when you sleep at night, the covers are on your feet and your feet are always kind of extended forward. And so this gets us right into the Achilles tendon, also into the base of our feet. So a lot of hikers suffer from plantar fasciitis. So it's important to really get into healthy fascia in your feet, both in your Achilles tendon and at the base of your feet. So this one is really good for getting into stretch, feeling the sensation in your feet. And you may notice you're like, God, she's talking for a long time and I've been holding this pose. Yes, because it takes a little practice to breathe into it and really get into the stretch in our feet. And the awesome thing is there's always a great counter pose to shift your weight forward. You can wiggle your feet out a little bit to get some sensation back and come onto the tops of your feet. So we're going into the reverse direction. Bring your hands behind you and lift your knees off of the floor and shift your weight gently back. So this is a counter stretch to toes pose. It's also a super nice stretch right into your shins and getting your flexibility into your ankles here. And we still breathe right into our ankles. And come back forward onto your knees. And that is our sequence for our feet, our knees, our quads, and really working strength and stability in our joints.